What's up, everybody? Happy Friday Face-Off. Today, we're going to talk about something that I am extremely passionate about. And we don't have Vex. He's still on vacation with his beautiful little family. So apologize. It's just me here today. But again, this is a thing that I think I've been on a really big kick lately on life skills. How important life skills are to not only becoming obviously a better person, but a better player too. I'm a big believer that life skills can help us to be better within the confines of the rink. And one of the things that I think is an absolute superpower life skill that can help any kid that's listening to this to achieve their dreams, and that's building of resilience. It's not about how many times you get knocked down. It's about how many times you get back up swinging. And we've interviewed so many different people on the podcast who at some point in their career had some self-doubt, at some point in their career maybe got cut, at some point in the career just things weren't going the way that they planned or the way that they expected. And building that resilience muscle has been the supercharge to help them get out of whatever tough time that they're in, and you're going to end up better on the other side. And our biggest thing that we talk about a lot is that if you have high hopes and dreams, which we think it is a very healthy, amazing thing to have very lofty goals, very lofty dreams. But you have to have an understanding that if you have big goals, there's going to be a lot of tough times that come with it. Anything great never came easy and comes with a lot of things that are outside your control, a lot of twists and turns, and that building of the resilience muscle is something that can help to propel you to your dreams. And when the tough stuff happens, guys, you have a choice. Life is all about choices. And the way that we choose to see the hard stuff that are happening in our life, that's ultimately going to be one of the biggest determining factors on whether or not we make our dreams or not. And so the easy thing to do when the tough stuff happens is to make excuses or quit or point fingers, blame other people. That's not going to get you anywhere. The best people that I know, they thrive in the tough stuff, and they choose to see the tougher moments as an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to be outside your comfort zone and end up even better than where you were at before. So adversity, guys, it's really just an opportunity in disguise, opportunity to learn something, opportunity to challenge yourself. And if you choose to see the tough stuff in that way, again, like I said, it can help propel you to your dreams. And so how do we build this resilience? What can we do on an everyday basis? What can we do in the tougher times that we're having to help build this resilience muscle that we're talking about? And first, I want to talk to the coaches for a second. One of the things that I think we can do is make it hard. And what I mean by that is we want to push our kids that we are coaching outside of their comfort zone. We don't always in practice want them to have success. We want them to fail a little bit. Now, obviously, we want to support them and teach them and guide them through that, but we can't always give them the answers to the test. And the easier we make it, you're not getting pushed outside your comfort zone, which is what makes you better. And so I call it constructive tension. And what I mean by constructive tension is finding ways to make it hard for your players so they can battle through and understand that they can get through this tough stuff, especially from a team standpoint, like coming together as a team. And so just a quick little example. So when I was at Cornell, we had a strength coach named Tom Howley, and he was one of the best ever. We are big believers, obviously Vexes too, that strength coaches are a huge part of every team. They're the lifeblood. They bring the energy, they bring the accountability, and really help to set the tone for the culture within a team in a locker room. And Coach Howley, I'll never forget, it seemed like every year we had this one day. It was called our stadium day. And you run the stadium steps at the football field, and we did a whole host of other really hard exercises. It was the hardest day of the year. And one of the things that always struck me was we would have this really hard workout. And then we'd all be so exhausted afterwards, but we'd be so elated because it was done. And then what would happen is Coach Howley would bring us all together. We kind of put all our hands in. We go 1, 2, 3 on red 3, 1, 2, 3, let's go red. And then he would be like, all right, back on the line. Back on the line, let's go. And so here we were thinking, we just got through this hard workout, and then he's going to put us right through it. So that is what I call constructive tension. It's a way to deliberately make it a little bit harder. And it was a great learning experience for us as a team because we were going to go through hard stuff that year. We were going to go through ups and we were going to go through downs and we were going to hit a lot of adversity. And this is a way to produce a little bit of manufactured adversity for us. And again, the way that we choose to respond to that was everything. And so the leaders, it would be like, no, we're not making excuses. Everybody on the line, let's go. Like, we're just going to do this. Let's go. We're going to do it. And it was like a positive mindset. And so it was just a great kind of way to make it hard for us and see how we reacted as a group. Did we come together or did we start whining and complaining? No. It was a great teaching moment. So finding ways to produce some constructive tension, making it a little bit harder for the players, I think that can go a long way. And then when it is hard, I talked a little bit earlier about not giving all the answers to the test. I'm a huge believer from all of that I've read and from who I've listened to on podcasts and just from talking to some of the best coaches of development in our game. And that is when you're guiding and supporting a kid through some of the tougher times. First of all, we got to let them do it. We can be there to guide them and we can be there to support them. But one of the best ways is just to ask them questions, right? Like, how are you feeling right now? What's a way that we can get through this? What's a way that you can get through this? How can we choose to take a negative and turn it into a positive? Kind of get into their mindset and let themselves figure it out. Let themselves go through, the machinations in your head about what do I got to do right now? How am I going to choose to see the situation? And so asking them questions and letting them be the one to figure out the solutions as a guide or as a support and not giving them the answers to the test. I think it's a great way to get kids to self-reflect and to figure out how to get through some of the tough stuff. And then as you're kind of supporting them, the third thing is a way that I think can really, really help them get through is really, really sit down with them and help them and support them through setting goals. And I don't mean like dream goals, like result-oriented goals. I'm talking about process goals. Here's the problem that we have. Here's how we feel like we can get better to solve it. And then here are the 2 or 3 things that I need to do every single day to achieve that as the kid that's going through it. So really sitting down with them and helping map out a plan, an execution plan, and even an accountability plan to make sure that they're doing the little things necessary every day to get out of the funk that they are in. So we talked about providing some constructive tension so the kids can really feel what it's like to have some adversity. So when adversity does hit, it's muscle memory. We talked about as they're going through it, asking them questions and letting them come up with the solutions, and then sitting down and really goal setting with them and putting together an action plan so they can get through that stuff. And then on top of that, high standards. This kind of goes back to the first thing we talked about, constructive tension. And as coaches, as leaders, we have to have high standards for the players that we are leading. If we make it really, really easy, again, they're not going to get outside their comfort zone. And if we're not holding them to any standard, they're not going to have any accountability to get it done at the end of the day. And so we should push. We should have high expectations. We should have high standards for our players and then be unwavering with the support that we have for them, as we've talked about, as they're going through it, but also just really the accountability of making sure that they're hitting those standards every day. Now, we as leaders have to live that first. We can't be, guiding people to high standards if we're not living those standards ourselves. But again, high standards, high support, high accountability. That's what gets the most out of people. Push them outside their comfort zone, let them fail, guide them and support them through it, communicate them through it, let them be, the main driver of those solutions. But high standards and high support and accountability goes a long way to building the resilience that kids need to end up getting through some of the tougher moments. And then a couple more things that I have for you guys. I'm going to be over a little bit of 10 minutes here, but when we're communicating with players, particularly during a tough time, and I go back and I remember some of the conversations that I had as a player with either my mom or my dad, or different coaches that I had a lot of respect for. And there were 2 things that I think they did really well as they were guiding me through the tough stuff. The first one was honesty. And we cannot help kids grow if we're always telling them what they want to hear. we have to be honest with them with where they're at. We have to be honest with them with how we feel. And we have to be honest with them just about everything. And you talk to any high level athlete, what they will tell you is, hey, the best coaches that I ever had, I always knew where I stood. I always knew where I stood, for the good, for the bad, or the ugly. I always knew where I stood. And so being honest and not always telling them what they want to hear, because that's the easier thing to do, I think that's really important. So that's number one, is honesty. And the second is belief. I can't tell you the amount of people that we've had on our podcast that have made the NHL or made another level of higher level hockey, whether it's Europe or Division I or June, whatever it may be. And there was a time in their career where they were really struggling. They didn't have a lot of belief in themselves. Their confidence wasn't there. And what it took was somebody, whether it was a coach, a parent, a strength coach, a teammate, it took somebody to believe in them. And when they felt that belief, that unlocked something that, helped them get through the tougher moments that they had. And so as coaches, we have to be honest, right? We have to be honest and tell them exactly what we think. But at the same time, you have to instill a level of belief. And in your communication, or in our communication with kids that are struggling, it's like, hey, I've seen you be great. I know what you can do. It's in you. We're just not there right now. And I want to help you to get to that spot by holding you accountable to the things that you need to do every day. This isn't my dream. This is your dream. And I believe that if you put everything you have into it, that you're going to accomplish it. And I'll be right here with you every step of the way. But I'm going to be honest with you, here's where we're at. But I believe in you. That belief, man, I think we can all kind of reflect on some point in our journey in hockey or outside, that when somebody believed in us, maybe when we didn't even believe in ourselves, man, that's a really, really powerful thing. And then the last thing I have for everybody here, and this is particularly for the parents, especially if your kid is going through a tougher moment. Again, Vex and I, what's probably the biggest thing that we talk about on our podcast? The most important thing you can do in life is surround yourself with good people. And if you want to get out of a funk, or you're going through something, and this isn't just players or kids, I think this is kind of for all of us, we need to put ourselves in environments where people around us are where we want to be. So if we're in a negative state of mind, best way to get out of it is surround yourself with positive people. People with energy, people who bring the best out of you. And so I think in anything, it's imperative that we surround ourselves and we surround our kids with just really, really good people. But especially in the tougher moments, finding those people and reiterating with those people, like, hey, we got to be positive, man. Like, what's a positive we can take out of this? And when you have that environment of positivity around you, again, like, energy is contagious. It's a lot easier, especially in a tough time, to be positive and to have positive energy when you're around those types of people. So building resilience, it's everything. Hopefully I was able to talk a little bit to some of the leaders, hopefully talk a little bit to, some of the younger kids that are listening, some of the players. Hey, look, I've had my fair share of tough stuff in my career. There's been a lot of ups and downs in my hockey journey, in my journey after hockey. And I feel like choosing to see the good in situations, choosing to see them as challenges instead of defeats, and surrounding myself with good people. That's another one. I think those are huge reasons that I've been able to have some success. I think Vex would say the same thing. But building resilience, hopefully this was a positive conversation for you guys. And as always, we love you. And hopefully you can use this through some of the tougher times that you or somebody around you are having today.